Hello and welcome back to the Idiot Rambles podcast, the podcast where I, an idiot, ramble about a random topic. This week's episode, in the spirit of summer, I decided it'd be a good idea to finally decide what is the best theme park in the world. And by the world, I mean the US. Because I live in the United States, I'm an American, no other country exists, I'm the center of attention. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go through multiple theme parks in the US. By multiple, I mainly mean Disney and Universal parks. We're going to go through them. I'm going to rate each park based on 4 factors on a scale of 1 to 10. Whichever park has the highest score in the end is the winner. And with that out of the way, let's just get right into it. So, we'll start off with the theme park to start it all. Technically that would be Hersheyland, but I'm not counting that because I don't know it. Disneyland. So, the 4 factors we're rating each of these parks off of. We're rating them based off of the price and how valuable it is, the ride quality, the theming, and how stressful it is to book a trip to go. So, starting off with Disneyland, for each of these ticket dates on all of these parks, we're going to assume that we're going based off ticket prices on the day this is getting released. So, for Disneyland, a one-person ticket for one day would be $170. And you can't really judge the value of that price unless we go through the attractions. So, I've got the website pulled up right here, just so I don't miss anything. Now, you have a lot of classics here at Disneyland. You know, you've got your Alice in Wonderland, your Dumbo, your Peter Pan, but you've also got a lot of other really great, more recent ones. You've got Big Thunder Mountain, you've got It's a Small World, you've got Galaxy's Edge, one of the 2 rides that come with that. You've got Space Mountain, you've got a lot. Honestly, the rides here, pretty good. I would say they're not great, simply because so many of these rides are obviously like opening day rides that are a bit slower, maybe don't hold up as well. So, as far as ride quality go, I think that one gets a... Give me a second, I realized I forgot to write down the stuff for Disneyland. Ride quality, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's got what you want from a Disney park. Yeah, it's got everything for all ages, I would say. Now, the theming. The theming within Disney World, it's obviously great, you know? You have your Main Street USA. You've got Galaxy's Edge, which I know is controversial, but I think has pretty good theming. Everything kind of just, it flows together really well. So I'd say, yet again, theming, I'm going to give that one, I'm going to give it a 7, only because some of the themes of the park, some of the areas, are a bit generic, like Frontierland and such. So that's the main thing keeping it from going up higher. Now, you may be thinking, oh, this is great so far, Disneyland's great. That's when we get to the stress level. And we're going to see this with pretty much every Disney park on this list. The amount of stress of planning a trip to Disney is insane. You got most other theme parks, you know, they have a fast pass system, and while it helps, it's not necessary. You know, you could still go on everything without it. With Disney parks, if you don't have a fast pass, you're not going to get to ride some rides, just at all. And Disney keeps changing their fast pass system, and it gets worse and worse each time. And planning, you basically have to be on your phone at all times to make sure you get on certain rides at Disney. It's extremely stressful to plan out. That's not to mention huge lines and huge crowds at Disneyland. So for the stress level, I just realized I can't give it a high rating for stress level. Okay, so a stress level, the lower the number, the more stressful it is. I know it doesn't make sense, but I realized my rating scheme would not work if I did it the other way around. So for the stress, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10, which is extremely bad. And now we can go back to the value. I'd say for $180, honestly, it's pretty good. You know, it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime trip, and you get what you'd want from a Disney park. There's no real glaring omissions. Most of the rides that are there are the best versions of those rides. So for value, I'll give it an 8. And I'll tally it up later in the end. Now, next we have the park right by it, California Adventure. Whew, this is a whole separate thing. So, for the pricing, it's the exact same price as a Disneyland ticket. And while that works for Disneyland as far as pricing goes, for California Adventures, we'll see just how bad that is. So let's look at ride quality. There is... I have so much to say about California Adventure. You know what? I'm not going to start with the ride. I'm going to start with theming. What a hodgepodge of themes. California Adventure at its core is a dumb idea for a park. Make a California-themed theme park in California. At this point you got Pixar Pier, you've got the Avengers area there, you've got Cars area. None of them flow together, it just feels like a hodgepodge of stuff. The only one that fits is Cars Land, and this is coming from someone who is strongly against Cars 2. I think the other ones are fine. So for the theming, I'm going to give California Adventure I'm going to give it I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. The only saving grace with the theming is from the Cars area. Everything else just doesn't flow together. Nothing works. It went from a boring California themed park to now an IP based park, except the IPs don't fit together and don't even fit the park itself. Now, next up, now we can look at ride quality. This fares a slight bit better than the theming. The Cars ride over there, I know a lot of people really enjoy. You've got the Incredicoaster, which is I've heard mixed opinions on, but generally people seem to like it. But then a lot of the other rides here. Oh, also you've got Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, which again a lot of people really enjoy. But then you just got a lot of boring, flat rides that you'd find at any basic theme park that just have some Disney or Pixar theming around it. And that's like best case scenario for some of the rides here. Worst case scenario, you have Spider-Man Web Slingers, one of the most... It's below a tier than a Six Flags ride, which is insane. Spoiler alert, when we get to Six Flags later in the list, you'll see how bad a ride has to be below a Six Flags ride. All this stuff here just... And this wouldn't be so bad if the ticket price wasn't $180. $180 to go to one cool themed land and maybe 3 good rides. Other than that, everything else you can get at like a Cedar Point park or a Six Flags for a much cheaper price. So as far as value goes, I'm going to give that one I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. The ride quality, I'm going to give that a 3 out of 10. And the stress level, I mean, that's probably the least stressful out of all the Disney parks. But even then, it's arguably worse, because you have such high stress level for a park that's just basic and no good, really. I'll give the stress level a 4 out of 10. That just what happens, because all the other rides are bad, it makes it so all the good rides have an even longer queue time, meaning you have to rely more on Fast Pass. But at the same time, It's not as bad. You could wait in line a bit longer for these rides, because you're not going to be riding anything else. So that's kind of its saving grace. Its greatest weakness and advantage. Now, finishing up here in California, we're going to look at Universal Studios Hollywood. For one ticket, hold on, I just realized I forgot to look at the ticket price of this one. Let's see. While I'm looking for the ticket price, I just want to go on a little rant real quick. Universal Studios is the worst websites of all time. Every time I go into the Universal Studios websites, whether it is for the Hollywood or Orlando park, I think I'm on like a scam site. Like, they're such awful websites. Compare that to Disney, which, yeah, it can be a bit slow of a website, but it's so much better than the Universal one. The Universal website looks like a scam. Every time I go through, I'm worried for my information. Universal really needs to upgrade their thing. Alright. Okay, so the ticket price for Universal Studios Hollywood is $150, which is cheaper than, obviously, the last two parks we looked at. And you are getting slightly less rides, but if we just go through some of those rides real quick, I would say they're better overall. You've got all the Harry Potter rides with Forbidden Journey and Flight of the Hippogriff, very high quality. You've got Jurassic World ride, pretty high quality. Revenge of the Mummy, pretty high quality. Simpsons ride, some would argue it's not high quality, but it's a guilty pleasure of mine. You got the Studio Tour. You've got Mario Kart. Bowser's Challenge. That is a dumb name for a ride. Anyway, so you've got good rides here. What? Yes, there's not a lot of them, but the ones you have are fairly high quality, with only a few stinkers like Fast and the Furious Supercharged and Secret Life of Pets Off the Leash. Other than those, you've got really high quality rides. I'm gonna give it a 7. The only reason it doesn't go up is just because there's not a whole lot of rides. Now, theming. Universal is considered the king of theming parks, generally. Obviously, this park, you've got the Harry Potter section and the new Nintendo World, both of which are amazingly themed and blow recent Disney theming parks out of the water. So honestly, for theming, I'm going to give... I'll give them a 9 out of 10. I think, honestly, Universal has the best theming out of any kind of theme park. And we'll see that especially once we get over to the Orlando side of things. Now, as far as stress level goes, generally, it's a lot less stressful to try to plan a visit to any Universal park compared to Disney. Simply because... Actually, I don't know why. It's not like... Universal still has a lot of people going to it, probably still less than Disney. Like, with Universal, they have a fast pass system, and it's really good. It actually works. But you don't need it. You could still easily go on every single ride and do everything you want to do in a Universal's park without fast pass. It's not a huge deal. So I'd say for stress level, it gets an 8 out of 10. Which sounds bad, but remember, we're going the opposite direction for stress level, because I don't know how to do scaling. So that brings us back to value. For $150, there is a little bit left to be desired as far as more attractions go. So for that, I'm going to give it a 6. You could do better, especially if you want to get a fast pass. Those are insanely expensive. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Now, before we get to Orlando, let's look at the 2 non-Disney or Universal parks on this list. Starting off, let's look at Six Flags. This is the one I have the most experience with. So I have a lot... Actually, I don't know if I have a lot to say about it, but you know what? We'll just go on. Okay, so, for a park ticket, Six Flags parks generally range around the $35 to $50 ticket if you order them online. If you order them at the gate, that is $90, which is insane for a Six Flags park. As I've been to Six Flags many times, it is not worth $90. So let's look at the ride quality. A lot of the rides at Six Flags are very, they're by the book theme park rides. One notable one that a lot of Six Flags parks have, by the way, for Six Flags, I'm just combining all of them into one. I'm not going to look at each individual one. They're all close enough anyway. For, there's one ride. It's a Justice League ride where you got a little gun. Something that represents the quality of Six Flags rides. Before COVID, it was a 3D ride, so you put on little 3D glasses and you shot your gun at the screen. You went pew pew. If you tried to shoot the Joker, it wouldn't do anything, but it doesn't matter. But then once COVID hit, obviously all theme parks, they shut down and they kind of removed the 3D glasses aspect. Parks like Universal Studios, they just redid the rides without the need of 3D glasses. Six Flags, on the other hand, didn't do that. So if you still go on the ride today, it's designed as a 3D ride, but you don't wear 3D glasses. So you can't aim. It's very disorienting. And that just represents the quality of a lot of rides at Six Flags. You've got a few standouts. One of my personal favorites, whenever I go to Six Flags over Texas, is the Pandemonium. But for the most part, just not... Especially, I'm not going to bring price into this. That's its own separate tier. For ride quality, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It leaves a bit to be desired. Theming-wise, this... looking at Six Flags over Texas, the theming is all over the place. It kind of tries to do a whole thing where it's like, oh, you have different country themes, but some countries are way bigger than others, so it just doesn't flow well at all. And then you've got DC sections which are split apart for whatever reason. I think the Gotham City area looks alright. It's obviously no Disney or Universal, but for Six Flags, it's pretty good. Theming wise, I gotta give it a 5 out of 10. Well, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. There are some good theming in those parks. Now, stress level. Obviously, another thing of stress is you pretty much have to buy a ticket online if you want to get an actually decent price. So that adds stress to it. And Six Flags is so crowded, has such long lines, and it's just boring and stressful a lot of the time. So I'll give it a 5 on the stress level, because again, some of that stress turns into boredom, which isn't that bad, but still just not great. Now as far as value goes, if you're paying like $40 for a ticket, yeah, Six Flags is worth it. $90 though is just simply absurd. There's no way. Six Flags is not worth $90. Just get out of here with that. So for the value, I'll go right in the middle with a 5 out of 10. Now, next up is Cedar Point, which is, in my opinion, just Six Flags but good. You got your value for the tickets, which tickets are, let's look real quick, about $50 to $60, which I've never been to Cedar Point. But if I look at the rides they have there, and from what I've heard from a lot of people, Cedar Point has really high quality rides that are just great all around. So I'm going to be a little bit looser with the scaling on this one, because I know the least about this park out of any of them. So as far as ride quality goes, I've heard very good things about the ride quality, especially thrill ride wise. So I'll go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10. Theming wise, I've never heard anyone talk about the theming at Cedar Point. And looking at the website right now, I'm not seeing anything like at all. So I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10 there. Stress level, again, what I've heard from a lot of people, it's not a stressful trip to go to Cedar Point. Like it's fairly simple. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10 on that one. And for the value, I really do think like Cedar Point is just better than Six Flags in every way, especially for the price. Because if you try to buy online, it's $50 to $60. At the gate, it's $85, which is still cheaper than Six Flags. And in my opinion, you get way more value out of that ticket. So as far as value goes, I'll go ahead and give that a 7 out of 10. Now we make our way over to the wonderful world of Florida. So we'll start off with Universal Studios Orlando. And I forgot to pull up the website, so I'm going to do that real quick. Pull up the horrible website. Baby. Da, 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 da. I really don't even need to look up the website. I've been looking at this park the most lately. Alright, there we go. So all of these parks, by the way, I'm going by a one day, one park mindset for the tickets. It just makes it easier, because once you start trying to add in like package bundles and park hopping tickets, it's a whole thing. So for one park ticket at Universal Studios Orlando, it's $155, which is slightly more expensive than the Hollywood version. So if we go and look at the rides they offer here, this is where it gets interesting. Alright, so you've got the whole Gringotts area, which is great. You've got Revenge of the Mummy. You've got Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. You've got the Simpsons ride. You've got Men in Black Alien Attack. You have good stuff here. You have 2 more rides here than you would at Orlando, or than you would at Hollywood. But you also have a lot of stinkers here. You've got, again, Fast and Furious Supercharged. You've got Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. You got the Trolls Troller Coaster, which I don't have a picture for even, but I could just assume it's a kid's ride, so it really shouldn't even count for the purposes of this. And I mean, the ride quality themselves are very, very high. So honestly, I would see, what did I give Hollywood? I give it a 7 out of 10 for ride quality. I'll give it the same here. I think, you've got slightly more rides, and they are distinct, different. Some of them are, at least. And the ones that aren't different they're still good. So I think it deserves the same amount. Theming wise, you've got the Harry Potter area, which obviously is really well themed. Simpsons Land, again, well themed. The Minions area, which from what I've seen, pretty good theming. But then you've got the New York section, which really isn't anything. And then the new DreamWorks Land there, again, it's really not anything. Theming, I'm gonna give that a 7 out of 10 as well. Well, no, I'll give it an 8 out of 10, just because the theming that is good, specifically Diagon Alley, it elevates it so much. Now that I think about it even more, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, because that's how good Diagon Alley is, theming wise. Stress level, already touched on that for Universal Parks. 8 out of 10, because it's really not stressful that much. Except, well, I'd say this one you're probably gonna have more people. So maybe I'll go to 7. So that brings us back to value. For being slightly more expensive than the Hollywood Park, I would say you get about the same experience, but again with Diagon Alley. That's just such a good section that I would bump the value up to a 7 just because of that. Now we're gonna head on over to Disney World, starting with Magic Kingdom. Give me a second to pull up the website because yet again I forgot to do so. Alright, tickets. And I think the tickets should apply. Should be the same price for every one of these Disney World parks. Let's see, where is it? Why is the Disney World website significantly worse than the Disneyland one? Oh no, so the ticket prices are different for each one. Alright. So, Magic Kingdom, a one-day ticket at Disney World is, drumroll, $175, which brings it to the most expensive ticket on this list so far. But maybe the rides here will justify that. If I could pull them up real quick. I had all these pulled up beforehand, but then my computer started overheating once I did that. So I had to close all the tabs, and I just forgot to open them back up in time. Alright. Let's see. Oh wait, no, that's... I have to put on a little filter. Alright, there. So you have a lot of similar rides to Disneyland. You know, you've got your big Thunder Mountain. You've got your Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, your Dumbo. You've got the Hall of Presidents, world famous ride everyone loves. Haunted Mansion, Small World, Jungle Cruise. Yeah, you get the idea. It's got Disneyland stuff, but more. It should be noted that a lot of the Disney World versions of these rides are slightly worse than the Disneyland versions. But honestly, you have more rides here. I'd say a lot of them are really good. Especially, like, you've got the Tron ride here now, which, from what I've seen, is just really great. So I'm going to give ride quality, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Theming-wise, I mean, it's about the same as Disneyland as far as theming goes. I don't remember what I gave Disneyland, and I don't feel like going back, so 8 out of 10 for theming. Stress level. This is possibly the most stressful of the Disney parks to go to. Maybe. I'll find out here when I go later on the list. I mean, the stress level for this is just insane. I've explained it so many times why Disney parks are so stressful to go to. Magic Kingdom gets a 1 out of 10 for stress. So the total value for $175, the ride quality and theming are up to par, but the stress level really does bring it down. So I say value-wise, I would give it 8 out of 10. Alright, so next up, we will look at another Disney World park, this time Epcot. Epcot prices are $160, and if we look at the rides there, this is one where I really am not expecting a whole lot, just based off what I know. Alright, so with Epcot, some highlights for rides. You've got going through the website right now, I'm really finding literally nothing as far as rides go. Okay, I've got the new Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Mission Space. Rat-Tattooey Adventure. Spaceship Earth. Test Track. That's it. Epcot relies a lot more on actual entertainment and events, but for this list, I do not care about that. So as far as ride quality goes at Epcot, there's not a lot of rides, and the rides that are there, they're just pretty good, but they're not great. They're not amazing. So I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 for rides. Theming, Epcot does have really good theming with all of its lanes and everything. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for theming. Stress level. Epcot is very crowded, and again, running the same problem as California Adventures. There's not a lot of rides, so everyone's flocking to the few rides there are. So for stress level, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. It's not the worst of the Disney parks, but it's still pretty bad. So for the total value, for $160, I mean, if you like going to the shows and events at a park, Epcot's pretty good. But if you only care about rides, which is what I care about, $160 is not worth it. So I'm just gonna give it a 5 out of 10 for value. Now let's head on back to Universal and look at Islands of Adventure. As far as I'm aware, it should have the same ticket price as the other one. Alright, yeah, $155. And once we look at the rides here, I'm expecting very high quality stuff. If I can just pull up the thing again real quick. Alright, yeah. You've got the Velocicoaster, the Incredible Hulk, Jurassic Park River Adventure, Hagrid's Motorbike, Forbidden Journey, the Spider-Man ride, both the water rides, they're in the cartoon world. Cat in the Hat, that one's not a good one, but I'm going to name it anyway. Okay, yeah, that's all of them. Okay, so that brings us to about 18 to 19 rides. You've got so many more high quality rides here. Pretty much every single ride here is an absolute, just amazing thing. With the few exceptions like some of the kids' rides in Seuss Land. But other than that, you got nothing but just high quality stuff here. I'm gonna give the ride quality a 9 out of 10. It's amazing. Theming, Hogsmeade does have slightly worse theming than Diagon Alley, I would say. But you've still got the Jurassic Park section, and you still got Seuss Land, and you got the comic book area. So the theming's still gonna get an 8 out of 10 here. Stress level, again, not really that bad for Universal, 7 out of 10. For the value, you get a lot of good stuff here. I'm gonna go and give this a 8 out of 10 value. It's just very, very high quality. So that brings us to our last two parks. Starting off, we're going to go to Animal Kingdom in Disney World. $150, the cheapest of the Disney parks. This is one where it has the same problems as Epcot, but to an even greater extent. Let's get it pulled up real quick. to get this really going. Yeah, so you've only got a total of about 4 rides here. 2 of them are the Avatar rides, which are very high quality, but then the other 2 are just nothing really. Oh, they have Expedition Everest. Okay, never mind. So you have 3 pretty great rides here, and then you've got Dinosaur. Okay, wait, this place has more rides than I thought. But I also have never heard of any of these rides, really. You know, I ever hear people talk about them. So, okay, they got like 5 rides. As far as ride quality goes, I mean, the really good rides are really, really good. But then there's not that many. So I'd say it balances out to about a 6. Theming wise, I'd give this a 9 out of 10. You've got the Pandora section, which is very well themed, and then just the rest of the park. Just the very theme of Animal Kingdom works well for this park. It's got really great theming. Maybe it's not gonna wow you in the same sense as maybe Diagon Alley would, but it does exactly what it sets out to do. Stress level, this is almost on the same level of Magic Kingdom, because especially if you want to go on those Avatar rides, getting on those rides is the most stressful thing ever, because everyone wants to go on them. So for stress, I'm going to give that a 2 out of 10. It's really bad. For value, for $150, it just comes down to, I think if you enjoy animals, if you're not an animal person, and you're going for rides, $150 is not worth it. But if you're a zoo person, if you really enjoy animals, $150 is really worth it. So I'm going to put it in between. By in between, I mean a 4 out of 10, because I really don't care about animals, and I don't think it's that great of a value. So that brings us to our very last park, which is Disney's Hollywood Studios. For the price of $170, making it one of the more expensive parks on this list, you've got the Toy Story section and Galaxy's Edge, both of which have really great rides. You've got, at least I'm pretty sure you got Muppet Vision 3D. We love the Muppets. Toy Story. Okay, yeah, I've got Twilight Zone, Tower of Terror. Yeah, that's what I thought. You've got a lot of good stuff here. Maybe not a whole lot of rides, but the rides you do have, all of them are pretty great. So for ride quality, I'll give it a 8 out of 10. Theming wise, you've got the Toy Story section and the Galaxy's Edge, both of which I think are themed really great, but the rest of the park kind of leaves a bit to be desired, so I'm going to give it a 7 for theming. Stress level, this one's about the same level of Magic Kingdom. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10 as well, because it is the most cramped park out of any of the Disney parks, and everyone wants to go to every ride. Every single ride is going to be backed up for a while, and you have to have Fast Pass, especially for Galaxy's Edge. I don't even know if Slinky Dog Dash offers Fast Pass, but I know for that one always has a huge line. So yeah, Stress Level gets a 1 out of 10. For $170, I would say, you get a lot of good stuff here. I'm going to give it a 7. Simply because chances are you're not going to be able to go on everything in one day, which kind of brings the value down a little bit, because then it makes it so paying $170 to not even be able to go on everything, yeah, no, it's not great. So that gives it a 7 out of 10. So now it is time to tally up all of the scores here. I will go ahead and just cut to whenever I have those tallied up. Alright, with all of the scores tallied up, in last place for the worst theme park you could go to, we have Disney's California Adventure with a whopping 12 out of 40. And in first place, as the best theme park in the world, and by the world I mean the US, and by best theme park I mean out of the ones I care about, we have, drumroll, Islands of Adventure, which earned itself a 32 out of 40, followed up by both other Universal parks with a 30 out of 40. I can't say I'm very surprised. I would say this is well deserved. Most of the Disney parks averaged around the 25 point mark, and what really brought those down and brought the Universal ones up is that stress level. So congratulations, Island of Adventure. You win the award for the best theme park in the world. By the world I mean the US, and by the best theme park I mean out of the ones I care about. You win that award for this podcast, unless I change my mind. Ever give a round of applause? I'm not going to give a round of applause, so I'm just going to sit in silence for 10 seconds and give you the chance to applaud. Alright, thank you for applauding for that. Now with the main topic done for this episode, which is a very long one, we move on to the review of the week. Alright, this week was a fairly busy week for me for reviews. We've got The Bike Riders, Jurassic Park, A Quiet Place Part 2, and Ponyo. For the sake of synergy, I'm going to be going with Jurassic Park. I gave this 5 stars. I would say probably... Actually, no, it is my favorite Steven Spielberg movie. I think what works so well about Jurassic Park is its earnestness. And I think that's what works well with any Spielberg movie. They're all just very earnest in their approach. And that really comes through with Jurassic Park. That's why the scene of the iconic Welcome to the Jurassic Park, it works so well, just how earnest of a scene it is. And even now, while I was watching, I just kind of felt wowed by that moment. I would say all the characters are really great. My biggest surprise was with Jeff Goldblum's character, Malcolm. I went into this thinking, oh, he's just gonna be like a cocky prick character, pretty standard. But no, he's like a genuine dynamic character. He is a cocky prick at times, but he's also genuinely smart. He raises good points. He has his own worries. He has his own... He's not a flat character. So he was a huge surprise for me. And what else is there to discuss about Jurassic Park? Oh, I enjoyed how... Spoiler alert. I enjoyed how the final battle of the film wasn't with the huge T-Rex. It was with the Velociraptors. It would have been really easy to just go with the T-Rex. It's the big, scary dinosaur everyone knows. But no, they went with the Velociraptors, and it works really well. You have that scene where the two kids are in the kitchen, hiding from the Velociraptors. And obviously I'm like, okay, they're not going to kill the kids. But that scene still works so well, because the entire time all I could think was, how are these kids going to make it out of this? Like, the Velociraptors really do have them cornered. They're a huge threat. So I think they work extremely well. Jurassic Park, I give it my seal of approval, and it is one of the better movies I saw this month. I would say, maybe... It's not even the best movie I saw this week, though. Maybe it is. I don't know, Ponyo is about the same level. I was going to review Ponyo, but considering I talked about theme parks this episode, I thought, might as well go for Jurassic Park. And speaking of Jurassic Park as well, one last thing. Even with all the murders and the horrible tour that happened in the movie, I would say, still a better park than Euro Disney was on release. And with that, that's the end of the review of the week segment of the podcast. Next up, we have the question of the week section of the podcast. And then that's the end. I'll see you there. Hello and welcome to the Question of the Week section of the podcast. Section of the podcast where I bring in a guest and ask them usually a pretty dumb question. But I think this question this week's not really that dumb. For our guest this week we have Thomas. Thomas, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, what's up? My name's Thomas Harris. Proud American. Yeah, that's about it. I love America.
Now,
you should too.
Thomas, so there's two things I know about you, and these are the only two things I know about you. The first thing, you're going on vacation soon, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And the second thing I know about you is that you're a gamer. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. Yes, those two are very correct.
So that's why I want to ask you, from the perspective of a gamer, and this week's question, what is your ideal vacation? You don't have to worry about, money, budget isn't a thing, time isn't a thing. Whatever you want for vacation, what would your ideal vacation be?
Well, first, we're going to have to start it off in the country that I love, which is America. I would a full tour of America. Everything.
Hell yeah, brother. Can we just get a round of applause for that real quick, everyone?
Yes, sir. Now, I must say, I'm going to have to start it off with, a movie. And that movie has to be Horizons, an American saga. Because, that's the most American movie there is. And who doesn't love America?
And you gotta see it the biggest screen possible.
Yes, I do. In 4K, 8K, IMAX, whatever it takes. And then after that, I'm going to have some American fun. Now, what's the most American thing you think of?
Freedom
and guns.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We are going to shoot everything we can with the most bizarre thing ever. Flamethrowers. I need it all. And since there's no budget, I'm balling out. I want it all.
Are you going to get tanks as well?
Yes, I will get tanks. I want pure American guns. No other countries. Zero, zip, nada. Only American. Made in America. By Americans.
Hell yeah, brother. Can we get another
sir.
round of applause for that real quick, everyone? They'll be clapping at home. So,
Okay.
Where are you doing all this stuff at? Where are you going to shoot all these guns?
I must say, a lot of these states, they have way too many problems on gun laws and stuff. That's why I'm going right on down to Texas, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. Going down to Texas.
Yes, sir. Shout out to all my Texans out there. You are very... My heart goes out to all of you.
True American heroes, if you will.
Yes, they are. They all are, regardless of what they do. Oklahoma, you come in second place. California's last. New York's actually last, I must say. California's second to last.
Okay, so you're going to shoot all these guns in Texas. And then what? Is that it?
I must say, I need to have some more American fun. And, what's the most American day? The 4th of July.
That's right.
And it's right around the corner, but I'm going to miss it this year. But I'll come back for it. Whenever I go overseas, I'm going to make sure that every single one of them people know that it's America Day. And I'm going to celebrate it right in front of their face. Because this is America.
You're going to walk up to every single person in that neighborhood, and give them a little American flag.
Yes, I will. And I'll tell them, move to America. Apply for citizenship. Get over here now. And, I must indubitably say, 4th of July is the best holiday out of the year. It just brings me to tears every year. I don't cry on Christmas. I don't cry on my birthday. I only cry on America Day.
But when you see that bald eagle flying past the American flag, that changes
I drop down on my knees and I start bawling out in tears due to how America that is.
Okay,
but, fireworks. We need to have a lot of fireworks. And since there's no budget, and it's America Day, I need all the fireworks. Matter of fact, I think they should promote me to president
of the United States.
Yes, they should. And in that, 24 hours, I'm going to do some great stuff.
Would you do a purge
Amazing
situation?
Stuff. I don't believe in all that. You know. Now, will I maybe start, a civil war? Possibly.
Like the movie
But
Civil War, which released
yes, I
this year.
would. Mm-hmm. Would that really be a big problem, though? No.
Basically, you would be the guy from Civil War with the red glasses who asks, "What kind of American are you?" That's your
Yes. What
vacation.
kind of American are you? Yes.
Your vacation is just being
Yes.
that guy.
We need Americans, not America.
Alright, so let's recap your
Because.
vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So, first thing you do, you go to the biggest screen possible, you watch Horizon and American Saga,
Hell yeah, partner.
and then you go to Texas with a bunch of guns and a tank, or several tanks even, and you shoot them.
Theoretically,
Yeah, you shoot them
I
somewhere.
won't really need the guns. I already know that Texans, they love their guns.
You can just
There's
borrow
not
them.
one person against guns. Yeah, I can just borrow them. They'll love me, especially if I'm becoming the president on the 4th of July and I'm gonna pass some stuff they're gonna love.
Yeah, so then on the 4th of July you become president, and you start a civil war,
Yes.
and you get red glasses.
Well,
And-
so there's only one thing. The Civil War will only commence unless I get what I want done. Okay? Now, will I turn this into no communist dictatorship? Hell no. I believe in pure blood American capitalism. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah, brother.
But I must indubitably say, Civil War it'll probably happen.
It will happen.
They won't like my policies and all the information I'll release.
You release all the
my-
secret documents the government's been
Yes.
trying to hide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You'll,
Especially the ones I love to ramble about.
you'll finally release the Fortnite Zapatron back into the game.
Yes, I will. I will be all powerful. That is a day in the life of Thomas Harris right there for prime vacation.
Well, I think that's it for the segment. Thanks for coming on, Mr. American Thomas.
Yep, anytime, partner.
I can't wait to
Anytime.
see you in the helm of the presidency here in a few
Yep.
weeks.
Yep. Well, regrettably, I'm gonna be gone this 4th of July, but I'll still be celebrating.
You'll be with
the
us in
American flag
spirit.
caps on them. I'm gonna make all of them Uncle Sam.
Well, that's the end of this episode of the podcast. And as we sign off, I want every single one of us to do a salute as we sign off. In spirit of America and 4th of July.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
That's it for this pod. Okay, bye.